Hello friends, welcome to lecture number 10 of unit number 3 cryptography and public key infrastructure. Myself Nikul Jaiswal, lecturer in computer engineering, Sri KJ Polytechnic, Bharuch. So let's have a quick recap of our previous lecture. So in the previous lecture we have discussed the working of the secure hash algorithm, SHA-1 algorithm. So SHA-1 algorithm takes the input of a message and it will develop the hash value of 160 bit. So output of the SHA-1 algorithm will be the 160 bit. Now SHA-1 algorithm use the 80 rounds to produce the hash value, and it take the message less than 2 raised to 64 bit, and the message digest or the hash value developed by the secure hash algorithm 1 will be a 160 bit. So in the previous lecture, we have discussed the importance of hash value. So basically the hash value provide the integrity of the message. That means if any unauthorized modification has been done during the transmission of the message, then the receiver will come to know that the unauthorized modification has been done. So that is the basic use of the hash function. And second most important use of the hash function is to provide the digital signature. So that we will discuss today, how to use the hash function to provide the digital signature in cryptographic hash functions. So in today's lecture, we will discuss what is the digital signature. Then we will see digital signature model. Then we will discuss the digital signature properties. Then the requirement for the digital signature and the digital signature services. And at last, we will discuss the key escrows. So let's start with the basic definition of digital signature. So digital signature is an authentication mechanism that enables the creator of a message to attach a code that acts as a signature. So normally we use the signature to provide the authentication of the message. So whenever we create any message, or whenever the sender or any person create a message, it will provide the signature of that person to provide the authenticity of the message. So the authenticity of the message will be provided by the signature. Same as we use the digital signature in the computer world. So whenever sender send any information, then to provide the authenticity of that information, we use the digital signature. So basically a digital signature is an authentication mechanism that will authenticate the person for the particular information. So typically a signature is formed by taking the hash of the message and encrypting the hash with the creator's private key. So in the previous lecture, we have already discussed in the public key infrastructure, we have two key pairs, public key and private key. Now whenever sender want to send the information, and if the sender want to provide the confidentiality, in that case the sender will use the receiver's public key for the encryption. But if user want to provide the authentication, in that mechanism, the sender will use its own private key to encrypt the data. That encryption will provide the digital signature. Now at the receiver side, what the receiver will do, after receiving the message, the receiver will decrypt the message with the sender's public key. So that was the basic model of the digital signature, or to provide the authentication by using the public key infrastructure. So to provide the authentication, what the sender will do is sender will take the message and sender will encrypt the data with the sender's private key. So that will provide the authentication for the particular message. Now the problem with this mechanism is, if we encrypt the particular message, then the signature or the size of the encryption will be the same as the size of the plain text. Clear? So let's suppose we have 1000 bit of message and we want to provide the authentication mechanism. Then what the sender will do, it will encrypt this message with sender's public key. So the size of the plain text will be 1000, and the size of the encryption message will also be 1000. So if we want to attach the plain text and the digital signature, then the size of whole information will be the 2000 bits. So the signature size and the plain text size will be same. So that is not feasible. That's why we do not encrypt the actual message with the public key, with the private key, but we calculate the hash value of that message and we encrypt that hash value to create the signature. So the signature guarantees the source and integrity of the message. So when we calculate the hash value and when we encrypt the hash value with sender's private key, it will provide the integrity also and it will provide the authentication also. So the digital signature standard, that is also called as a DSS, is a NIST standard that uses the secure hash algorithm for the digital signature. So the digital signature standard uses the secure hash algorithm to calculate the hash value, and that hash value will be encrypted with the sender's private key. So this is the basic block diagram of the digital signature. First of all, what we do is we take the message, then we will encrypt the message with sender's private key. So that will provide the authentication and it will construct the digital signature. We will send that information to the receiver side. Now what the receiver will do, it will use the sender's public key to decrypt the data and it will get the information. So this is the mechanism that will be used to create the digital signature in cryptographic environment. So let's see how the digital signature will be constructed and how the digital signature will be appended with the message. So this is the basic model for the digital signature. Now this is, here is the Bob and here is the Alice. So Bob want to send some message to the Alice, but how the Alice will identify that the message has been come from the Bob only and not from the any attacker. So what the Bob will do? The Bob will take the message, it will create the digital signature, it will attach the digital signature with the message. When the and it will send the message to the Alice. Now what the Alice will do? It will take the message and it will take the digital signature from the Bob. It will verify the digital signature of the Bob, and if the digital signature is valid, then Alice come to know that the information has been sent from the Bob only. Bob only. If the verification of the digital signature is failed, then Alice will come to know that this information does not come from the Bob and any attacker may have sent that information instead of the Bob. So this is how the digital signature model will work. What the Bob will do, it will take the message, it will create the digital signature. So you can see here it is written digital signature generation algorithm. So this algorithm will be used. For this algorithm, Bob will use its private key. Clear? So Bob will use the private key and it will give the input as a private key, and the digital signature generation algorithm will generate the signature. So this is the Bob signature. Now for the different, for every message the signature will be the different. Clear? So it is not like Bob will have some digital signature and it will append the digital signature to all the messages. Basically, the digital signature will be based on the message. If the message changes, the digital signature will definitely change. So this is the digital signature generation algorithm. So for every message, for every transmission of the message, we need to calculate the signature and all the message will have the digital signature with it. So when the message changes, the digital signature will change. So Bob will take the message. It will generate the digital signature by taking the input as a message and by taking the input as a Bob's private key. And both this input will create the signature. Now the signature will be appended with the message and it will send to the Alice. Now what the Alice will do? It will take the message and it will take the signature. Again, it will give the message and signature as an input in digital signature verification algorithm. Now verification algorithm will return signature valid or not. If the signature is valid, then Alice come to know that this message has not been uh, unauthorizedly modified in between the transition. Clear? And it will also come to know that that message is only come from the Bob. So this is how the digital signature work. Now let's see how this digital signature generation algorithm work. So this is the block diagram for this digital signature generation algorithm. So how the Bob will generate the digital signature? First of all, what the Bob will do, it will take the message, it will calculate the hash value for this message. So basically the digital signature standard uses the secure hash algorithm to create the hash function. So secure hash algorithm will be used here and it will identify the hash value of the message. Now that hash value of the message will be encrypted by the Bob's private key. When we encrypt the hash value with the Bob's private key, that encryption will construct the signature. So the ciphertext of the hash value will be called as a signature, and that signature will be appended with the message. Now, how the verification of the signature will be done by the Alice? It will take the message and the signature. So this is the signature. So signature is basically a encryption of the hash value. Clear? So what the Alice will do? It will take again the message. It will give the input to the cryptographic hash function. It will identify the hash value. So this is the regenerated recalculated hash value. Now what the Alice will do with the signature? It will take the signature. Now signature basically is the encryption of the hash value with the Bob's private key. Now it will perform the decryption of the signature with Bob's public key, and it will get the decryption of the signature, that will be the hash value. If both the hash value, that means recalculated hash value and decrypted hash value, if the both the hash values are the same, then the signature will be called as a valid. If the both hash value are the different, then the signature will be called as a not valid. Clear? So this is how the signature will be generated and the signature will be verified. Again, let's discuss how the signature will be calculated. First, the Bob will take the message. It will give the message as an input in the cryptographic hash function. The hash function will calculate the hash value. That hash value will be encrypted by the Bob's private key. And when we encrypt the hash value with the Bob's private key, then that encryption, that ciphertext will be called as a signature. Now we will append the signature with the message, and it will send the to the receiver side. So here it is the Alice. Now what the Alice will do? It will take the message again. It will take the message that has been received by the Alice. It will again calculate the hash value, and hash value will be recalculated. Now what the Alice will do with the signature? It will decrypt the signature because by using the Bob's public key, and it will get the decryption of the signature, that is also called as a received hash value. Now received hash value and recalculated hash value will be compared. If the comparison is true, then the signature is valid, and if the comparison is false, then signature is not valid. So this is how the signature will be created and the signature will be verified. Now let's see what are the properties of the digital signature. So the first property of the digital signature is it must verify the author and the date and time of the signature. So this is the basic property of the digital signature. By using the digital signature, the digital signature itself must verify the author, who is the sender of the message, and the date and time of the signature, where the on which time and date the signature has been produced. It must be authenticate the content at the time of signature. Clear? So this is the second property of the digital signature, that is authentication must be provided at the content at the time of the signature. Then it must be verifiable by the third party to resolve the dispute. So this is the major property of the digital signature. If any dispute arises between the sender and receiver, then it must be possible to verify the content by the third party. That we will see in the later on lectures, how the third party can verify the values or the messages. But if any disputes arise between the sender and receiver, then it must be verifiable by the third party. That is properties of the digital signature. Now let's discuss the digital signature requirements. So these are the basic requirements that need to be addressed by the digital signature if we use any digital signature algorithm. So first requirement is the signature must be a beat pattern, and then must be dependent on the message that is being signed. Clear? So every signature must be dependent on the message. If the message is changed, if message changes, then the signature must be changed. So signature must be dependent on the message. So it is not like that we have one digital signature, and when we send any information, we append that signature to the message. Every signature must be dependent on the message. If the message changes, the digital signature will be changed. The signature must use some information unique to the sender to prevent both forgery and denial. So every digital signature must use some unique information related to sender. So in DSS, we use the sender's private key to encrypt the data. So that is the unique information for the sender. It must be relatively easy to produce the digital signature. So for every message, we need to produce a digital signature for the transmission. So it must be relatively easy to produce the digital signature. If the mechanism is very complex, then it will be extra computational power will be required to calculate the digital signature also. So it must be easy to produce a digital signature for each and every message. Then it must be relatively easy to recognize and verify the digital signature. So if the production of the digital signature is easy, then it must be easy to verify the digital signature also. The next is it must be computationally infeasible to fork a digital signature either by constructing a new message for an existing digital signature or by constructing a fraudulent digital signature for a given message. So we need to develop a digital signature algorithm such that a fake digital signature cannot be calculated for the existing message or for the new message. So that is the basic requirement of the digital signatures. And last is it must be practical to retain a copy of the digital signature in storage. Clear. So it must in some cases we require to verify the message for many times for to verify the digital signature many times or to verify the authentication of the message many times. So it must be practical to retain a digital copy of a digital signature. So it must be possible to store the digital signature in a system to verify the information or to verify the user later on or many times. So this is the basic requirement of digital signature. So these are the services that will be provided by this digital signature. So message authentication will be provided by the digital signature that we have seen already. Then message integrity will also be provided by the digital signature. Normally message integrity provided by the hash value, but we use the hash value to encrypt the to create the digital signature. So what we are doing here is we take the message, we calculate the hash value, and we encrypt that hash value with the sender's private key. So this will automatically provide the integrity. So digital signature will also provide the authentication, and digital signature will also provide the integrity. So for the integrity, no need to separately calculate the hash value. Clear. So that is the major service by the digital signature. And the last service that will be provided by the digital signature is non-repudiation. That means if sender sends some information to the receiver, after sending that message, the sender cannot deny that the message has not been sent by the sender. So that will be called as a non-repudiation. Sender can't deny that the message has been sent by the sender. So these are the services that will be provided by the digital signature. So this was all about the digital signature. Now let's discuss uh, next topic, that is key escrow. So it is very simple topic. So basically key escrow is the arrangement in the cryptographic environment where we store the uh, uh, senders or receivers private key to the third party. Clear. So you can see here it is written here, escrow, a document kept in a custody of a third party and taking effect only when the specified condition has been fulfilled. So key escrow, also known as a fair crypto system, is an arrangement in which the keys needed to be decrypt encrypted data are held in escrow. So we store the uh, keys for the decryption. Clear. So we store the keys for the encryption and decryption in a particular document for the later on use. So the keys need this is the arrangement in which the keys needed to decrypt encrypted data are held in escrow so that under certain circumstances an authorized third party may gain access to those keys. So these third parties may include the businesses who want to access to employees' private communication or governments who may wish to be able to view the content of the encrypted communication. So in many circumstances, the businesses want to check the private communication that has been done by the employees from their private network. So to gain access to that information, the company must have the private key of the users also. So what the companies will do, it will create the trusted third party, and all the private key of its users or the employees will be stored into the stored into the escrow, and that keys will be used to decrypt the data in certain circumstances. If any company or any organization want to check the communication that has been done by the employee, so that can be done if the key is available. So all the keys, public and private keys, will be stored into the escrow, and that keys will be used for the certain circumstances. So that will be called as a key escrow. So this was all about the digital signature and key escrow. I hope you did understand all the topic that has been discussed in this video lecture. Thank you so much.